Evan Cole moved quietly through the long silver hallway of the Zanari Royal Academy. Every morning looked the same for him. He pushed his old cleaning cart, wiped the glass floors, and tried not to disturb anyone. Humans like him had the lowest jobs in this alien academy. The Zanari students walked past him with lifted chins, as if he did not exist. Evan never complained. He only wanted to finish his shift and stay invisible. But today, something felt different. He noticed a strange coldness in the air, like the academy itself was holding its breath. As he walked near the royal wing, he saw Princess Arali, the mother of the young royal child, talking to guards. She looked worried. Her daughter Lyra stood behind her, holding her small hands together. Lyra was usually bright and full of energy, but today her skin looked pale and almost dull, like the life inside her was fading. Evan paused. Something about the girl bothered him. Zanari's skin usually glowed softly, but Lyra's glow was dim. Her eyes were slow. Her steps were shaky. He wanted to walk away. Humans were not allowed to stare too long at royal children, but something inside him whispered that something was wrong. A few minutes later, Evan began cleaning the hall near the academy library. Suddenly, he heard a soft cry. When he turned, he saw Lyra stumble forward and fall hard onto the floor. Her guards did not notice. They were arguing among themselves. Evan's heart raced. She was just a child. He rushed toward her without thinking. He knelt beside her and gently touched her arm to check if she was hurt. Her skin was cold. Too cold, colder than any Zanari child should ever be. Before he could say anything, a guard saw him and shouted, "Human! How dare you touch the princess's daughter? Remove your hand." Within seconds, more guards ran toward him. Their faces were angry and shocked. To them, a human touching a royal child was a crime. Humans were considered too simple, too low, too weak to even stand close to the royal bloodline. Evan raised both hands and stepped back. "I was only checking if she is all right," he said softly. But no one listened. Princess Arali reached her daughter and lifted her into her arms. Lyra's head rested weakly on her shoulder. Still, the princess glared at Evan with fearful eyes, not understanding his actions. "Why were you touching her skin?" she asked sharply. Evan swallowed hard. His heart was still pounding. "Her skin, it felt wrong," he said quietly. "Too cold. Something is happening to her." The guards surrounded him. Some of the parents passing by stopped and watched. Someone whispered loudly, "A human touched the royal child." Another voice added, "He should be fired." Soon the hallway was full of noise, fear, and anger. Evan stood alone in the middle of the storm. The headmistress arrived. She looked at Evan with disgust. "You are dismissed from the academy," she said loudly so everyone could hear. "Humans must know their place." Evan felt a heavy pain in his chest. Losing this job meant losing his only income. But worse than that, he could not forget the cold feeling of Lyra's skin. It was not normal. It felt like the freezing touch of death. Two guards grabbed him and began pulling him toward the exit. The crowd watched with satisfaction, believing justice was being served. But then Evan spoke. His voice was calm, but the words were sharp like lightning. "If you do nothing, she will not survive the day." Everyone froze. Even the guards stopped walking. Princess Arali turned slowly. Fear entered her eyes. "What do you mean?" she asked. Evan looked at her with steady eyes. "I have cleaned this academy for years," he said. "I have seen hundreds of Zanari children. Their skin never becomes that cold unless something terrible is happening inside the body. She is not tired. She is not weak." He paused, then added quietly, "She is poisoned." The hallway fell silent. The princess's face turned pale. The headmistress blinked in confusion. Even the guards stepped back in shock. No Zanari doctor had said anything. No teacher had noticed anything. Only the human janitor had felt it. How Why? Was he right? Princess Arali looked at her daughter's dull, fading glow and felt fear grip her heart. For the first time, she did not look at Evan with anger. She looked at him with desperate hope. Princess Arali held her daughter tightly, her hands trembling. Lyra's glow grew weaker by the second, and her breath came in small, short waves. The guards and parents still watched Evan like he was a criminal, but suddenly their anger turned into worry. The princess stepped closer to him. Her voice was low but shaken. What makes you say she is poisoned? Humans do not know Zanari medicine. Evan kept his eyes on Lyra's pale skin. I don't know Zanari medicine, he admitted, but I know danger. I grew up on Earth's frozen plains. Humans can feel temperature changes through touch faster than any scanner, and her skin. It was not normal cold. It was dropping fast. The guards scoffed, though their voices wavered. You expect us to believe a janitor can detect poison? One asked. Evan did not answer. Instead, he looked again at Lyra's shaking fingers. I have felt frostbite before, he said quietly. Her body is reacting the same way. But inside. Princess Arali stared at him as if he had revealed a secret she did not want to hear. She looked down at her daughter's face. Lyra was barely conscious now. Take her to the healers, the princess ordered her guards, but Evan shook his head. Immediately. They will not know what to do. And she doesn't have much time. This time the princess's voice rose in fear. Then what do you think is happening to my child? Evan breathed slowly before answering. There is something spreading in her blood, something cold. Something that steals energy from the inside. The princess looked shocked. How do you know this? Evan hesitated. He had always kept quiet about this part of his life. But now it felt important. On Earth, humans survived ancient winter storms that could freeze a person alive. Over thousands of years, our nerves adapted. We can feel small changes in heat. We can sense sickness through temperature shifts. The princess blinked in. Disbelief. Are you saying your people can detect poison by touch? Not poison, Evan said, but cold, unnatural cold. Silence filled the hall again. The guards, the watching parents, even the headmistress did not know how to respond. But the princess made her decision. Bring him with us, she said. The headmistress gasped. Your Highness, that is impossible. He is a human. Worse, he touched the child. Princess Arali's voice sharpened. And he might be the only one who knows what is happening to her. The guards exchanged worried looks. None dared argue further. They released Evan from their grip and followed the princess quickly down the hall toward the private royal medical room. As they rushed through the corridors, Evan noticed something strange. Zanari healers were calmly walking in the opposite direction, not even aware of the emergency. No alarms. No urgency. No one had reported Lyra's collapse. It was as if someone did not want help to reach her. Inside the medical room, the princess placed Lyra on the examination bed. The young girl looked smaller than ever, her glow fading into a soft gray. Evan stepped closer, careful not to touch her again without permission. The princess nodded. Check her. Tell me what you feel. Evan placed 2 fingers on Lyra's wrist. Instantly, that cold sensation hit him again, stronger than before. It's moving, he whispered. The cold is spreading up her arm. It's reaching her chest. The princess's voice broke. What does that mean? Evan hesitated before speaking. It means whatever is hurting her is alive. It spreads like a living thing. This is not a natural sickness. The princess closed her eyes for a moment, trying to steady her breathing. You said poison earlier. Yes, Evan replied. I think someone put something inside. Her food or drink. Something designed to kill slowly and quietly. The princess covered her mouth, fighting tears. Who would do this to a child? Evan looked at the guards for a long second, then at the door, then at the sealed windows. "I don't know," he said. "But someone in this academy doesn't want her alive." A loud alarm suddenly echoed across the academy. But this time it was not for Lyra. It was the security alert, a warning that a crime had been detected. The guard at the door checked his scanner and stiffened. "Princess, someone reported that the human janitor is trying to kidnap your daughter." Evan felt his heart drop. "What? That's not true." But footsteps thundered in the hallway, an entire squad of armored guards rushing toward the room. The princess stepped in front of Lyra, shielding her. "No one touches my child. Evan stays with me." But outside the door, the guards shouted, "Open up! Surrender the human immediately." Evan knew then. Someone wanted him gone. Someone wanted no one to ask questions. Someone wanted the poison to finish its work, and they were getting closer. The pounding on the medical room door grew louder. Each hit made the walls shake. Princess Arali stood in front of her daughter's bed, shielding Lyra with her body. Evan stood beside them, breathing fast but refusing to step back. He knew if he moved, the guards would drag him away, and he would never get the chance to explain the danger growing inside the little girl. "Open the door." The chief guard shouted, "Hand over the human at once." Princess Arali shouted back, "No one enters until I say so." But the guards did not stop. They were trained to obey the academy's leaders, not a mother's fear. One guard whispered, "Through the door, we have orders from the High Council. The human must be removed by force." Evan felt the air tighten. Something was very wrong. Why was the High Council involved so quickly? Why did they want him gone before anyone even checked Lyra's condition? It did not make sense. Then Evan looked again at Lyra. Her glow faded even more. Her tiny hands curled into fists. Her breathing slowed like she was drifting away. The cold inside her was spreading faster. "We cannot wait," Evan said urgently. "If the cold reaches her heart, she will not wake again." Princess Arali turned to him, fear shaking her voice. "Can you help her? Can you stop it?" Evan shook his head. "No, but maybe I can understand it." He gently touched Lyra's wrist again. The cold hit him like a shock. It was sharp, like ice cutting through her veins. But there was something else, something he had not felt before. A slight vibration under her skin, like tiny crystals forming and breaking. Evan whispered, "This is no normal poison. This is ice veil." The princess gasped. "That is forbidden. Only the royal military used it centuries ago." "Yes," Evan said. "And only someone with access to royal materials could get it." Princess Arali stared at him with wide, horrified eyes. "Are you saying someone inside the academy, inside my own circle, tried to kill my child?" Evan looked at her sadly. "It looks like it." Before she could respond, the door lock cracked. The metal bent inward as guards began to force it open. Evan stepped in front of the princess. "You cannot fight them," she whispered. "I'm not fighting," Evan said. "I'm buying you a few seconds." The door burst open. A wave of armored guards entered, weapons raised. The chief guard shouted, "Step aside, princess. That human is under arrest for harming your daughter." Evan held his hands up, but the princess stepped in front of him. "You will not take him," she shouted. "He is the only one who knows what is happening to Lyra." The guards hesitated. For a moment, none wanted to physically push a royal. But their leader stepped forward. "Your Highness," he said sternly, "all reports say the human touched the child and caused this sickness. He must be detained." "That report is a lie." She snapped out. The guard's eyes flicked sideways nervously. Evan noticed it. That single eye movement told him everything. The guard knew more than he admitted. He was hiding something. Then Evan heard a soft click, a tiny sound. Too soft for most Zanari ears. He glanced behind the guards. 2 academy staff members were whispering urgently. He listened carefully, focusing on their voices. Did you hide the vial? One asked. Yes, the other replied. No one will find it. After the child dies, they will blame the human. Evan felt ice rush through his veins, not from Lyra, but from fear. There it was. The truth. A real assassination attempt. A real plan to kill a child and blame a powerless human. Evan stepped forward. Princess, it's not just poison. This is a planned attack. Someone inside the academy is working against your family. And the guards are part of it. The room exploded. With tension, the guards tightened their grips on their weapons. The princess looked at each of them with betrayal. You knew? She whispered. You knew something was wrong, and you still blamed him? The guards did not answer. Their silence was louder than any confession. Suddenly, the chief guard raised his weapon. We cannot let the human talk anymore. The princess grabbed Lyra and backed away. Evan's mind raced. He had no weapon, no strength compared to the Zanari soldiers. But he remembered the academy layout. He knew every secret door and every maintenance path. Princess, he said quickly, hold Lyra tightly. We must leave now. There is a way out. The princess hesitated only 1 second. That was enough. Evan pulled a hidden lever behind the medical bed, a maintenance hatch he had repaired months ago. The wall slid open, revealing a dark metal tunnel. Go, Evan said. Princess Arali hurried inside with Lyra. Evan followed her. And the door closed behind them just as laser shots fired into the room. In the darkness, the princess whispered, Where does this tunnel lead? Evan took a deep breath. To the truth, he said. Asterisk. The maintenance tunnel was narrow, dark, and cold. Only a thin blue line of emergency lights glowed along the floor. Evan led the way, with Princess Arali holding Lyra tightly against her chest. Every few seconds, Lyra shivered, and her small hands curled closer to her mother. The cold inside her was spreading faster. Evan, the princess whispered, will she survive this tunnel? The air, it feels colder. Evan kept his voice calm. The cold is not from the tunnel. It's from the poison. But we are safer here than out there. With the traitors, behind them, faint metal clangs echoed. Guards were searching the academy. The princess tightened her grip on Lyra and followed Evan deeper into the tunnels. For years, Evan had repaired these passages alone. No one else cared about this old system. To the Zanari elites, these tunnels were janitor zones, and not worth thinking about. But Evan had memorized every turn, every crack, every emergency path. Now, that forgotten knowledge was their only chance. They reached a junction with 2 paths. This way goes to the old engine room, Evan explained. It is no longer used, so we can hide there for a moment. And the other? The princess asked. Evan's voice dropped. The other path leads to the lower security control room, where the guards send their secret orders. If someone planned the attack on Lyra, their messages will be there. The princess froze. You mean we could find the mastermind? Evan nodded slowly. Yes, but it is dangerous. Too dangerous while Lyra is getting weaker. Before they could choose, Lyra suddenly gasped. Her small body trembled violently. The princess fell to her knees, terrified. Lyra, please stay with me, she begged. Evan rushed to help. He touched Lyra's forehead carefully. The cold was stronger than ever, almost biting at his fingers. This is bad, he whispered. The poison is reaching her chest now. If it touches her heart. He stopped. He did not want to say the rest. The princess already knew. How much time does she have? She asked, voice shaking. Minutes, Evan admitted quietly. Not hours. The princess closed her eyes in pain. Then we must stop the poison. Anything else can wait. But Evan looked down the second tunnel again. Something inside him said the truth was close. Answers. A cure. A hidden enemy who must be revealed. Before he could decide, he heard footsteps above them. Heavy footsteps. Guards were walking right across the floor of the academy. Then he heard a voice he recognized, Lord Vareth, royal advisor. A man with power and secrets. Search every room, Vareth ordered. The princess must not leave the academy with the human. Bring me the child when you find her. The princess went pale. Evan felt his heart drop. They are not just blaming me. Evan whispered. They want Lyra too. The princess swallowed hard. Why would Vareth care about my daughter? Evan stared into the darkness, his brain racing. I think he knows the poison, Evan said. And maybe he ordered it. The princess looked shocked. Vareth is trusted by the council. He helped raise Lyra. He cannot. A sudden crash above them made her words die. Someone dropped something heavy on the floor. More movement. More guards. Evan made the decision. He cannot see us here, Evan said. We go to the engine room now. The princess nodded and followed as he led them down the left tunnel. The old engine room door hissed open when Evan used his maintenance key. Inside, the room was quiet, filled with silent machines covered in dust. It smelled of oil and old metal. Evan closed the door behind them and activated a manual lock. Something only a janitor would know existed. Princess Arali placed Lyra on a soft old blanket she found on a crate. Lyra's breathing was slower. Evan knelt beside her again. He touched her wrist. Cold, but something else. A new feeling, like the cold was pulsing. This poison is not just spreading, Evan whispered. It is being controlled. Someone activated it recently. Princess Arali stared at him. Controlled? Like a machine? More like a key, Evan said. Someone turned it on. A metallic click echoed from the hallway outside. Both froze. Evan turned off all lights. The room went pitch black. The princess leaned close and whispered, "Who is out there?" Evan listened carefully. He heard the soft scrape of boots. Not fast. Not searching. Waiting. Someone knew they were in here. Evan's voice was barely a breath. They found us. A small panel on the wall lit up with a blinking message, something only maintenance workers could see. System notice. Manual door override. Activated from external access. Someone was opening the door remotely. The princess clutched her daughter. Evan, what do we do? Evan rose slowly. His eyes sharpened. We don't hide anymore, he said quietly. We fight back. And we find the truth. The engine room door began to slide open inch by inch. Their enemy was coming. The engine room door slid open slowly, letting in a thin beam of white light. Evan stood in front of the princess and Lyra, blocking their view. He held nothing but an old metal rod he found on the ground. It was not a weapon, but it was all he had. A shadow stepped inside. Princess Arali held her breath. Lyra lay weak on the blanket, her small chest rising and falling with difficulty. The cold poison was eating her strength. Evan tightened his grip on the rod. The shadow moved closer, and then a cleaning drone buzzed into the light. Just a drone. A small round machine with soft brushes underneath. It floated slowly, confused by the darkness. Princess Arali exhaled shakily. It's only a maintenance drone, but Evan did not relax. The drone should not be here. It should not have activated on its own. Someone had sent it. Evan clicked his tongue lightly. The drone turned toward him. He recognized it. Model K7, programmed by him last year. He had repaired its sensors many times. He quietly switched its manual mode using a hidden sequence of taps. The drone blinked yellow, meaning it would now obey him. We can use this, Evan whispered. Follow me. He sent the drone to the far corner of the room, where a pile of metal crates stood. The drone lifted slightly and scanned the area mapping. The space. Evan quickly tapped the command for distraction. The drone beeped twice, ready to make noise if needed. Before the princess could ask why, a new sound filled the hall. Bootsteps. Not one, not two, A full squad approaching. Evan whispered. Sharply, get down. He pulled the princess behind a large engine coil just as 5 guards rushed into the room with bright lights and weapons raised. Search everything, the lead guard ordered. The princess is injured. The child may be dying. We must find them. His voice was fake concern. A lie so thin it almost broke in the air. Princess Arali's eyes filled with rage. Evan placed a finger over his lips, reminding her to stay silent. The guards spread out. One of them approached the crates where the drone hid. Evan tapped his command panel. The drone blasted a sudden loud noise like a metal explosion. The guard jumped back, shouting. The others ran to him. What was that? Something just moved. Check behind the crates. While they shouted, Evan grabbed the princess's wrist and whispered, now. He led her toward a narrow maintenance hatch on the opposite wall. The hatch was half hidden behind an old pipe. No Zanari guard would ever notice it. They only cared about clean halls and shining towers. The hidden places belonged to workers. Like Evan. He pushed the hatch open. Inside quickly. The princess crawled in with Lyra in her arms. Evan followed, pulling the hatch shut just as the guards returned to the center of the room. The small tunnel ahead was even tighter than before. Evan had to crouch low. The princess moved slowly, trying not to shake Lyra. Evan, she whispered. She is getting colder. Evan touched Lyra's arm. The freezing pulse had grown even stronger. His fingertips almost hurt from the cold. She doesn't have much time, Evan said softly. We must get her to the royal lab. The antidotes are stored there. But the royal lab is on the other side of the academy, the princess whispered. The guards will be everywhere. Exactly, Evan replied. Which is why we don't go through the academy, we go under it. They reached a sliding metal panel. Evan gently opened it and revealed a steep ladder descending into darkness. Princess Arali hesitated. Where does this go? To the old geothermal chamber, Evan said. There are pipes and heat vents there. If we can warm Lyra's body, we might slow the poison. The princess nodded without question. She trusted him now completely. They climbed down. The air grew warmer as they reached the bottom. Large glowing pipes crossed the room like giant metal serpents. Steam drifted through the air. Evan pointed to a thick pipe with a warm red glow. Lay her here, not too close. Just enough heat to fight the cold. The princess placed Lyra near the pipe. Slowly, the child's hand stopped trembling. Her glow flickered weakly, but it was a sign of life. The princess fell to her knees. Evan, you saved her again. Evan shook his head. This only slows the poison. It doesn't stop it. The princess looked at him with desperate eyes. Then what do we do? Evan listened. The pipes hummed. The room vibrated slightly. And then he heard voices through the vents, clear voices, Verith's voice. Evan's eyes sharpened. The princess noticed. What is it? She asked. Evan whispered. The vents connect to the council room. I can hear them. He leaned closer. What he heard made his blood run cold. Verith said, the poison is working. The princess will lose the child soon. Then we will take the throne. The princess covered her mouth to stop a scream. Evan turned to her. This is not only about poison, he said. This is a coup. Evan stayed perfectly still, listening through the metal vent as Verith's cold voice echoed from above. The princess held Lyra close, her eyes full of terror. The warm pipe kept Lyra alive for now, but her small body was still too weak to move far. The words from the vent cut through the silence. Once the child is gone, the princess will lose her power. Then the council will obey me. Another voice answered, but what of the human? The janitor escaped. Verith replied, he is a tool, nothing more. He will be found and removed. No one will believe a human's words. Evan's hands tightened into fists. His whole life, aliens had seen him as low, useless, less than nothing. But now he was the only person standing between the princess and death. The princess whispered, "I trusted him." He was like family to Lyra. Evan turned to her. "Princess, listen to me. This is not your fault. Varith has been planning this for a long time. He placed his own guards around you. He controlled the academy. And he used a poison only the royal military once had." Tears glimmered in her eyes. "I never saw it. He hid it so well." Evan spoke softly but firmly. "You had no reason to suspect your friend, but now we know the truth." Lyra shifted weakly in her mother's arms. Her glow dimmed again. The princess panicked. "Yevon, her glow is fading." He touched Lyra gently. The cold pulse inside her was stronger, like waves of ice pushing outward. He felt the poison climbing toward her heart. "We need the antidote," Evan said. "And we need it now." "But how?" she asked. "The lab is guarded. The council is against us. Varith controls everything." Evan thought for a moment, then looked up at the pipe structure. A thought came, dangerous, but possible. "Vent system," he said slowly. "It connects every room, including the royal lab." The princess blinked. "But the vents are too small for us." "Not for the drone," Evan said. He quickly opened the maintenance panel again. The small K7 cleaning drone floated over to him. He placed his hand on its top and programmed a new command. "We send it into the vents," Evan explained. "It will navigate to the lab, scan for the antidote vial, and bring it back." "But will it understand?" the princess asked. Evan smiled faintly. "I repaired this drone more times than I can count. It listens to me better than the council ever listened to truth." He tapped the final command. The drone beeped softly, then hovered toward the vent opening. With a whirl of its tiny engines, it slid into the darkness. Now all they could do was wait. Minutes passed like hours. The princess whispered gentle words to Lyra, praying the warmth from the pipe would keep her alive. But Evan felt uneasy. The warmth was helping, yes, but the poison was alive. Intelligent. It pulsed like it had a will of its own. The princess noticed his expression. "Evan, what is it?" He answered quietly. "This is not normal ice veil. This poison adapts. It responds to heat, to touch, to heart rate." "Someone changed it," the princess whispered. "Modified?" "Yes," Evan said. "Modified to kill faster if threatened." The princess covered her mouth. "Then if we move her too much, she will get worse," Evan finished. Before they could react, a loud metal crash echoed from the vent system. Evan snapped his head up. Something was happening. A second later, the drone burst out of the vent, spinning and sparking. Its casing was scratched. One of its rotors was broken, but it carried a small glowing vial. "The antidote!" Evan shouted. The princess gently set Lyra down and reached for it, but Evan grabbed her wrist. "Careful," he warned. "Let me check." At first, he inspected the vial. It was genuine. The royal symbol glowed on its side. But the vial had been tampered with, scratched. Someone had tried to destroy it. "This is the last one," Evan said. "If it breaks, there's no second chance." The princess held her breath as Evan knelt beside Lyra and uncorked the vial. He poured 2 drops of the liquid onto Lyra's tongue. The medicine shimmered as it entered her body. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Lyra gasped a sharp breath. Her glow flickered painfully bright, then dimmed again. The princess grabbed Evan's arm. "What's happening? Is she healing?" Evan watched closely. The cold pulse inside Lyra slowed, but did not stop. "No," he whispered. "Someone added a blocker. The antidote is fighting the poison, but something else is stopping it." The princess felt tears spill down her face. "What do we do now?" Evan looked toward the stairs leading up, where Varith stood somewhere above them, giving orders, plotting death. "We face him," Evan said. "He has the complete antidote. He planned the poison. He knows how to cure it." The princess wiped her tears. Her fear hardened into strength. Then we make him give it to us. Evan nodded. But be ready. He won't come alone. Suddenly, the ground above them shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Evan heard boots. Many boots, Varitha's voice echoed. Through a speaker, Princess Arali, surrender the child. And the human. This ends now. Evan stood up slowly. No, he whispered. Now it begins. Asterisk, the ceiling trembled as heavy boots marched across the floor above. Dust drifted down like falling snow. Princess Arali pulled Lyra close, her heart beating painfully fast. Lyra's glow flickered weakly, too weak. The partial antidote had slowed the poison, but not stopped it. Evan rose to his feet, gripping the metal rod he carried since the engine room. It was not a real weapon, but in his hands it felt like purpose. If Varith wanted them cornered, he would have to face them first. A voice echoed through the speaker again, calm, cold, confident. Princess Arali, your time is over. Open the chamber and surrender the child. Evan shouted back, you poisoned her. We know everything, Varith. Silence. Then Varith answered with a soft, cool laugh. A human janitor? Knowing everything? You're even more foolish than I thought. Princess Arali shouted, come down here and say it to my face. A metallic click echoed through the chamber. The main door at the top of the stairs began unlocking. Evan positioned himself in front of the princess and Lyra. The door opened. Varith entered slowly, wearing deep royal blue armor with glowing silver lines, a commander's armor. He looked nothing like the gentle advisor the princess once trusted. Behind him marched 8 elite guards. Varith surveyed the scene with disgust. Look at you, he said, stepping closer. Hiding in a dirty machine room, protected by a human with a metal stick. Pathetic. Evan didn't move. His jaw tightened. Varith smiled coldly. You cannot save the child. The poison is too advanced. And even if she lives, the council will never believe your story. Humans have no voice here. Evan felt a deep fire rise inside him. All his life he had been ignored, stepped over, disrespected. But today, a child's life depended on him. A princess trusted him. And an entire kingdom was about to learn that humans were far more than what they believed. Give us the full antidote, Evan said. Now, Varith laughed again. And why would I? Her death makes me ruler. Princess Arali stepped forward, tears burning in her eyes. Varith, you were my friend. You held Lyra when she was born. Yes, Varith said softly, and even then I knew she would take the throne before me. His voice hardened, so I fixed that problem. The princess trembled with rage. You monster! Varith raised his hand. The guards pointed their weapons at Evan. This is where the human dies. Evan looked at the princess. She looked back with fear, but also trust. Trust in him. Trust in a human no one respected. Evan whispered, hold Lyra tight. Then, without warning, he slammed his foot on a small valve handle on the floor. A blast of hot steam shot across the room, striking the nearest guards. They screamed and stumbled backward. Evan rushed forward, swinging the metal rod with all his strength. It cracked against a guard's helmet, knocking him down. Another guard fired, but the steam cloud blocked his shot. The princess used the distraction to dive behind an engine coil with Lyra. Varith shouted, stop him! Evan dodged a strike and swung again, hitting another guard's arm and knocking his weapon away. The heat, the steam, the chaos, all of it played into his strength. He had spent years in these maintenance areas. He knew every pipe, every vent, every weakness. A guard lunged at Evan. Evan ducked, grabbed a handful of anti-slip gel from a broken container, and threw it onto the floor. The guard slid instantly, crashing into 2 others. Princess Arali stared in disbelief. A human untrained, Unarmed was defeating elite Zanari soldiers with nothing but tools. Vareth growled in anger and stepped forward. This ends now. He raised a glowing blade and charged at Evan. Evan blocked with the metal rod, sparks flying everywhere. The force pushed him back, but he did not fall. The princess shouted, "Evan!" Vareth pushed harder. "You think you can fight me, human? You are nothing." Evan gritted his teeth. "I'm the reason your plan failed." He kicked a loose gear under Vareth's foot. Vareth slipped just slightly enough for Evan to twist the rod and knock the blade from his hand. The blade clattered across the floor. Evan pinned Vareth down with the rod against his throat. "Give me the antidote," Evan growled. Vareth gasped, clawing at Evan's grip. You wouldn't kill me." Evan leaned closer. "You're right. I won't." He looked at the princess. "But she might." Princess Arali's face burned with fury as she stepped forward. "Where is the antidote, Vareth?" Vareth broke. Fine. It's in my armor left pocket." Evan grabbed the vial and ran to Lyra. The princess held her daughter tightly. Please work." Evan opened the vial and gave Lyra a drop. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Lyra's glow brightened. Her fingers moved. Her breath steadied. The cold pulse faded. The princess cried with relief, hugging her daughter tightly. Thank you. Vareth tried to crawl away, but guards from the academy finally arrived. Alerted by the alarms and steam dot, they saw Vareth on the floor. They saw Evan holding the princess's revived child. They understood everything. Arrest him. The princess ordered Dot as they took Vareth away. The headmistress bowed deeply to Evan. Forgive us. We misjudged you. Evan smiled softly. It's all right, but next time, maybe listen to humans. 2. Princess Arali placed a hand on his shoulder. You are no janitor anymore, she said. From this day, you are Lyra's royal protector. Lyra opened her eyes weakly and whispered, Thank you. Evan felt tears in his eyes. He had saved a child. He had stopped a coup. He had changed a kingdom, a human. Someone they never respected until today.